Genesis chapter 13, where Abraham and his nephew Lot are about to go their separate ways. All right, they have a lot of flock, they have a lot of possessions, and they're having trouble. They're having trouble traveling. So like, you know what? Let's just separate. You go this way, I go that way, and that's what happens. And Lot is going to Sodom, and Sodom is a wicked place. All right, so that's what's happening right now. If anybody has a question or anything, I'm gonna be on here for about 15 minutes, I would say. Thank you very much for being on. All right, so Abram and his nephew Lot are going separate ways, and but the men of Sodom were exceedingly wicked and sinful against the Lord. So Lot goes into a place that's very wicked. Now we're gonna see what wickedness is. All right, this is where we're gonna see what wickedness is. And the Lord said to Abram, after Lot has separated from him, lift your eyes now and look from the place where you are northward, southward, and eastward and westward. For all the land which you see, give to you and your descendants forever. So like, hey, look around. This is your land. That's what the Lord said to Abram. Like, hey, look east, west, north, south. Everything you see, that is given to you. So here is God is giving this land to Abram and his descendants. So it's the land of Israel. All right, this is where we have the land of Israel introduced. Hey, this is your land. All right, this is the promise to Abraham. This is your land. This is the land that people fight for to this day. People fight for this land, the Holy Land. All right, so that's what's very very important. God is giving Abraham the Holy Land. All right, the Holy Land. That is what's important. Thank you for being on. Um, yeah. So it says here, for all the land which you see, I give to you and your descendants forever. How's it going? Hey, thanks for being. How's it going? Thank you for being on. And I will make your descendants as the dust of earth, so that if a man could number the dust of the earth, then your descendants also could be numbered. So the point is, they're gonna have a lot. They're to grow a lot. Samuel, how's it going? Thank you for being on. First timer, thank you for being on. I appreciate it. Please don't forget to subscribe. I get on lives pretty much daily. Today I've done this is my third live today, so hey, please subscribe and be notified. Thank you very much. Even if you log on for a little bit, hey, all good. Have a blessed day. Arthur Morgan, thank you for being on. All right, God bless you. All right, so thank you very much. I really appreciate that. All right, I really appreciate it. When people subscribe and especially pressing the notifications so they see when I go live. Today I did 3 lives. Yesterday I did 2. Tomorrow I'll probably do 1. But hey, we just, I read the word. But if y'all want to talk about something, hey, it's feel free. All right, I am here to. Hey, if you need to talk anything about anything, and we can actually go through it in the word or anything. All right, I really just appreciate just people being on and just spending some time. I like Psalms 23. Psalms 23. Um, you know what? I'll read some Psalms. Thank you very much for just putting something out there. A lot of people usually want to go Psalms or even Proverbs, but a lot of times, uh, Piggy Power, Piggy Power. Thank you for subscribing. All right, Piggy Power. I watched that movie Sing, and they say Piggy Power. So yeah, right now we're reading Genesis, uh, Jonah 18. You want me to read Jonah? I like Genesis 1 through 5. Man, I just went through Genesis earlier today and yesterday. Um, the deception from the serpent. All right, and it was very interesting. Thank you very much, Ryan21. I really appreciate that for you subbing. All right, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Psalms 23. Let's do Psalms 23. Thank you. Jonah 18. I read Jonah a few nights ago. Jonah, you said Jonah 18? Can you read? I don't think Jonah has a 18. What's your favorite? My favorite is the Beatitudes. Blessed are the peacemakers. All right. I believe that's in Book of Matthew. That's one of my favorites. All right. It's called the Beatitudes. Jesus on the, let me see here. It's in the Book of Matthew. That's one of my favorite verses. Other than that, I would say the Mount of Transfiguration, where Jesus talks to Moses, uh, Elijah. Auto corrected me. I meant something. Yes. All right. Can you something less? It auto corrected me. I don't understand. How's it going though? Thank you very much for being on. All right. Thank you very much. Um, Let me see here. Got the book of Matthews, one of my favorite verses. Book of Matthew is actually one of my favorite books. All right. S I meant. Let me see. Can you read? It's 18. Man, I think you're getting auto corrected. Yeah, Mike. Last. Yeah, Genesis 1 through 5. Hey, it's the foundation of the Bible. It's the foundation of mankind. All right, God building mankind from Adam and Eve, and also we went through the uh, the genealogy from Adam and Eve all the way to Jesus. All right, there is a genealogy that lists everything down. My day is going good. I did a live this morning about all the way to like noon, and then my wife, she had some errands she needed to run, and we ran some errands for about 4 hours, 4 or 5 hours. A lot of driving, a lot of yeah, and yeah. So that's how my day went. I'm actually a little tired, but hey, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do a live real quick, just even if it's for a little bit. So yeah, how's y'all day going? Um, uh, where y'all coming from? How's it going? Thank you very much for being on. I really appreciate it. Um, yeah, I am in Texas, by the way. If anybody's ever been to Texas, in the United States, Texas. All right. Today is my birthday. All right. How old are you? Nine finger one. How old are you? All right. Happy birthday, by the way. That's nine finger one. Always good to incorporate biblical lessons into day to life. Always, man. That's really what I do, man. That's really what we do on this channel. For the most part, I read, but hey, if you have a question, I can always give you an answer. And I have the Bible open because I'll try to give you an answer using the Bible. 11 years old. I just had somebody on here that had a birthday today who was turning 10. Honor thy father and mother. I always say that if you're young and you're a child, like, hey, honor your father and mother. All right. Don't forget, honor your father and mother. Hey, being 11 years old and you're following Christ, that's a good start to life, man, especially. All right. Hey, God bless you, man. God bless you. All right. God bless you. Actually, let me see. I'm actually gonna go back and keep reading the book of Genesis. All right. Thank you very much for being on, by the way. Please don't forget to subscribe and click on the bell to be notified. Um, hey, if you ever, hey, that's awesome. Church every Sunday. When I was that age, I used to go to church every Sunday with my parents. Well, actually, with my mom and her sisters, my aunt. Yeah, I would go to church every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, and then I stopped going to church for a good while, and then I started going back again. So yeah, and now I read God's word, and when I go to church, it's like more likely I've already read the verses, but hey, it's always good to learn. It's always good to hear somebody else's perspective, and also I go to church to fellowship. You want to go to church to fellowship. Um, One of the biggest things about going to church is fellowship, meaning hanging out with the people in the congregation, right? So it's not a bad thing to have fun with people around at the church. How's it going, Chef? What's up, bro? How's it going, man? Thank you for being on. I know you've been on here a few times. I really appreciate it. All right. But yeah, good job, nine finger 10. I got bullied at school. You don't. That's tough, man. That's tough. Um, yeah, you might want to let somebody know, and yeah, that's not cool. Make sure you let people know, like, hey, I'm getting bullied, because that is not good, or that is not fun. All right, that's tough. All right, all right. And Canaan, but the men of Sodom were exceedingly wicked. So we have a introduction to Sodom here. Were extremely wicked and sinful, and the Lord start working out every morning. Yeah, that's another thing. Hey, I'm not a big dude, to be honest. I'm not a big guy. I'm like, to be honest, kind of 5'3", something like that. But I've always played sports, and I was like, man, you know what? If I don't want to get bullied, I'm gonna start working out. And also just stay out of trouble. Stay away from people that, it's pretty much where you're at. Like, stay away from people that are more likely to bully you. But yeah, I would say, like, yeah, yeah, work out and try not to pick any fight. Take it boxing. I'm 4'10", 4'10". I am 5'2". So yeah, I understand. You know. But anyways, I'm reading on Genesis chapter 13, where Lot, Abraham's nephew, is about to go to Sodom. He's like, hey, I'm gonna go to Sodom. Abraham, he has business with God. Like, he's gonna go see his land of Israel. All right, and here God tells him, this is your land and your descendants. So this land is given to Abraham and his descendants. Um, so this is huge, because we have the land of Israel being introduced, and we have Sodom being introduced. Now remember, Sodom is going to be destroyed by God because they're so wicked. All right, that is huge. It's so wicked that God's going to destroy it completely. Like, hey, uh, he's gonna rain brimstone on it. Um, if you want to check it out, look up, like, you the Sodom. Where is Sodom located? Sodom and Gomorrah, where are they located? All right, I did a huge research on that, and they say it's located in the Dead Sea. So they're like, oh, it's in the Dead Sea. So if you know where the Dead Sea is, they're like, this is where Sodom and Gomorrah were located, and it's in ruins. It's like you can't see a city, you can't see nothing, you just see a bunch of ruins. But the reason they said is like, oh, this is Sodom and Gomorrah, is because they found pieces of brimstone. Like, oh, this is brimstone, and they're like, this must be where Sodom and Gomorrah were. How's it going, man? You have a question? Go ahead and ask your question. So the Dead Sea. Also, what goes with Dead Sea is the Dead Sea Scrolls. They found the Dead Sea Scrolls not too long ago, and uh, yeah, I've seen that. It's crazy. Yeah, so there was a video I was watching where the guy, he's traveling and he's traveling. He's like, he wants to find where was Sodom and Gomorrah located, and he's like, it must have been here, right? And they find the Dead Sea Scrolls, which is the lowest part in the world. While the exact location of the cities is debated. Yep, there's a debate. Traditionally believed to have been located in the Dead Sea region. So it's like Dead Sea region. Like, I know I'm near. It has to be here somewhere. Um, so right here we have it said that then the Lot chose for himself all the plain of Jordan, and the Lot journeyed east. So he goes east. Jordan, he goes east, and they separated from each other. Abram dwelt in the land of Canaan, and Lot dwelt in the cities of plain, and pitched his tent even as far as Sodom. So as far as Sodom. All right. So they say, hey, trying to be a better person. They say is that where the Dead Sea is. All right. It's like, hey, this has to be where it was. But like I said, it is debated exactly where. All right. Now I was watching a video where it said, there's pieces here. There's like burnt pieces, and you're researching the there's no condemnation for those in Christ with security of salvation. Yep. Thank you very much for putting that in there. So they're looking for like pieces, the rocks. Hey, the rocks are very old, and they found like some brimstone, which what it says, it rained brimstone, and they're like, this looks like brim, And then he asked the locals, like, hey, they're like, well, this is the place that people say this was Sodom and Gomorrah because there's brimstone. So yeah, I was watching a video on that. There was a Let me see if I can find a real quick. But yeah, I strongly encourage like, hey, look that up. And I went through a huge research on that. There was a video. There was an Asian guy. He was like really on the search of it. Uh, I mean, to finding Sodom and Gomorrah, finding Sodom. Well, just finding Sodom. National Geographic. Let me see here. So yeah, it's from the National Geographic. Buried Secrets of the Bible with Albert Lynn, Sodom and Gomorrah. It's about a 45-minute watch. You know, it's the sulfur can still be lit. Oh yeah, I believe he lit the sulfur. Yeah, and it has a smell. All right. Now another thing, people have testified that well, it's also said like of hell that it smells like brimstone, has a foul odor of brimstone. Now I've never smelled brimstone or anything, but they say, hey, it's brimstone, and God made it rain brimstone. So yeah, and I remember that he did say like you're able to light it up like for real. Walk through the Bible, walk through the Bible. YouTube showed it. Yeah. So all right, thank you for being on. Nine Finger One, thank you for being on. So that is huge. So right here they're going to Sodom. Then Lot chose himself. Abram dwelt the land of Sodom of Canaan. But the men of Sodom were exceedingly wicked and sinful against the Lord. So they were wicked against the Lord. So what's important is, as a nation, not to be wicked and sinful against the Lord. Hey, right now, our president Trump, he's saying like he's trying to make it, the United States more biblical. All right, he's getting rid of like hey, he's saying there's two genres. There's male, female. We're going back to the basics, which is good. All right, because that's just stuff like that. We're going back to the Bible, what the Bible says. I mean, he's saying that, but we'll see what really happens. But right here it says they're exceedingly wicked and sinful against the Lord. What is sinful against the Lord? Right now, our country, I would say, they're being sinful against the Lord with the communities that are being built with, that it's not male and female. It's like, hey, there's this and that, and last time I signed a job application, it said, "What do you consider yourself as?" Male, female, other, and stuff like that, and neutral genders, and there's just so much. Now that is wicked against the Lord, by the way, because remember we're in the book of Genesis still, and it says God created man and woman, all right, and that's plain as day. So want to keep it the way God wicked exactly. I've seen cases where it's like neutral gender, like oh, and it's not like I have a strong feeling against them or anything, but it's just one of those things like it's kind of sad to see. It's like hey, man, it's tough, man. It's tough to see that, and at some point I feel like it's not really their fault. I feel like maybe it was the parents' fault, and hey, it starts with the parents. Like hey, we have to teach our children. Hey, you're a male, you're a female, and it goes, this is how God intended it to be. And if it's any other way or it feels any other way, like, hey, we have to pray on that. And we also have to remember as male and female, we have temptations as well. Like, hey, we have temptations of lust. We have temptations of, and we're not supposed to be lusting over even women. It's like, hey, if you're married, especially, all right? So we're always avoiding temptation. As a person, as a normal person, we're always avoiding temptation. All right, we don't want to fall to temptation, and it doesn't matter how you feel or anything. We're always fighting against the flesh. Our flesh is always, you know, being tempted, and we're always fighting against the flesh. So that's one thing to always consider. Now here is like I said, it says wicked and sinful against the Lord. All right, so we got to think about that. Sinful and wicked against the Lord. And the Lord said to Abram after Lot had separated, lift your eyes now and look from the place where you are, northward, southward, westward. For all the land which you see, I give you and your descendants, and I will make your descendants as dust of the earth, so that if man could number the dust of the earth, then your descendants also could be numbered. So I'm saying, hey, you're gonna have a lot of descendants, the same amount of descendants as the dirt that you see. Like that's a lot. All right. So Abraham's descendants, how many descendants does Abraham have? A lot. And they're scattered all over the world. All right. Arise, walk in the land through its length and its width, and I give it to you. Then Abram moved his tent and went and dwelt by the terebinth trees and Mamre, which are in the Hebron, and built an altar there to the Lord. So he first thing he does is he builds an altar. Like, hey, I need somewhere to pray. I need somewhere to call out to the Lord. So that's a pattern that we see, especially with Abraham. Everywhere he goes, all right, let me build an altar so I can pray to God right here. All right, so consider building some kind of space where you pray to God. All right, where you have time with God. Consider creating a space, whether it's your closet. For me, it's my car, this little office that I made in the garage. This is where I, hey, pray to God, and this is where I read God's word. This is where I try to spend time with the Lord. All right. Like I said, we're always fighting against temptations, so we have to spend time with the Lord. So that is huge. All right. I'm gonna give it a few more minutes, and I'm gonna log off. I just finished reading chapter 12, and then we're gonna go into 13 tomorrow. All right. Thank you very much for being on. By the way, really appreciate it. Thank you very much. All right. So today we talked about the land of Israel given to Abraham. All right. And also we talked about Lot going to Sodom, and how people have researched and looked for where Sodom and Gomorrah was located. And they say, hey, it's right here by the Dead Sea Scrolls. I'm sorry, by the Dead Sea, where the Dead Sea Scrolls were found. And so that's something huge to think about. All right. So, man, I did a huge research on where is Sodom and Gomorrah? Where's Sodom and Gomorrah? The cities that were ruined, the cities that God rained brimstone on. And the conclusion was somewhere near the Dead Sea. All right. And only because they found rocks and stuff from that of brimstone, and like, this must be it. All right. So, yep. And we talked about the cities were wicked against the Lord. So what's important that our nation is not wicked against the Lord. So, that's a scary thing if we start heading in that direction. All right. So I'm gonna get ready to log off unless somebody has a question or anything. All right. Thank you very much for being on. By the way, please don't forget to subscribe and be notified. All right. Thank you very much. All right. I'm gonna try to get some rest in a bit. All right. It's 10 o'clock here in Texas. All right. 10 o'clock. And thank you very much for being on. Hey, God bless.